All right, welcome back to the garage. We're getting back to the El Camino. It's been a while since you've seen it, and we have been making some progress behind the scenes here. Let me show you. Pretty much the same. We didn't really do anything that where you can see it, but we definitely have been working on the carburetor tuning. Got it to where it's pretty much drivable. We fire it up right now and drive it around if we if we had some wheels on it. But yeah, so out here we got it running good. I'm still kind of fine-tuning my little mixtures on the carburetor and stuff, but for right now it's pretty good. Inside we do have seats mounted in here now. We had these TMI seats, and I got the brackets and everything for them. Had to do a little bit of finessing to get them to actually bolt in. The brackets didn't quite bolt onto the seat. It was kind of a whole thing, but they're in here now. The floor, we cleaned it up and threw down some of the rust restore paint for all the better spots, but we still have some holes to deal with. I talked to a body shop, and basically they were telling me that we don't need to replace the floor, but we could just kind of fill the holes with some stuff. So we'll get into that later though. Anyway, what we're doing today is we're attacking these brakes. So what was happening was basically we'd be driving down the road, and when you're just cruising, it was fine, but it was getting to where, because we've driven it a little bit now to make sure kind of we were getting the bugs worked out of it and everything. And so now it got to the point where if you kind of had to stop, not like panic stop, but like, you know, the light turned red, so you're stopping for it kind of a stop, it would actually pull. It would almost get to where it would like change lanes on you to the right. So I took apart the front brakes and kind of went through everything, and I retracted the pistons, and they kind of ran in kind of hard. And another thing I saw, let's see if you can kind of see it here. See how this line is just kind of falling apart here? So I'm pretty sure what's going on inside here is that same thing. And so I probably have little bits of rubber and things going into the actual caliper, and that's probably what's binding up one of the sides so it doesn't squeeze. Probably this side's not squeezing, the other side's grabbing, and then it actually just pulls the car over. So we got new calipers, we got new lines, and we got new rotors. Just kind of put them on here. It's been a while since I did a brake job with the actual, like, we got to pack the bearings, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully I didn't forget too much of it. Let's see how it goes. All right, got everything apart. So now just got to make sure everything is the same. As you can see, I got some upgraded rotors here. I got some drilled slotted rotors, and the black I actually painted on here so that way the hat doesn't get all rusty and stuff with age or anything like that. But what we're gonna do right now is let's make sure these races are the same size. So let's just kind of test fit our bearing, which that one looks good. Cool. So yeah, we should be perfect. So basically, the brakes on this thing, they're not a 68 brakes, even though it's a 68 car. The brakes are a disc brake upgrade, basically from like a 71 Chevelle. And so I ordered everything for 71 Chevelle, and looks like so far we are good. So yeah, time to get these things greased then, which is going to be a little bit new experience for me, the way I'm going to grease them. I have like packed the bearings before, but I had one of those like, it was at a shop, and so they had one of those like bearing packer things where you like stepped on it to squish the everything through. What we got now is we got this guy. So it looks like you just you take it apart, obviously. You put the bearing in between these two cups, and then you use your grease gun and grease it that way. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we got our bearing in here. We got our stud through it and tight. Now I think we're just gonna pump. Let's see. Here it comes. All right, so you can kind of see in here some pumping. The grease is gonna come out of the bearing because that's it, basically packing the bearing. So I'm gonna wait till we get a little bit of extra juice on it. So you can see where it's nice and kind of packed in there. Then we're also gonna take a bunch and we're gonna smear it around the outside of the bearing before we actually plop her in there. There it is. We got our rotors all on. Bearings are all greased. I even went down underneath the car and greased all of the fittings and everything for the suspension stuff too. Make sure that was all good to go since I had the gun out. Now let's go ahead, let's get some calipers, and let's see about getting them on here. This is what we got. It's got them from Summit Racing. They're actually a powder coated version. I hope this dirt stuff clears off, but even if not, whatever. But yeah, let's go ahead, let's get them on. Good thing about them, they actually are labeled on the back, whether they're right or left. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. Well, the rotors are wrong. Was trying to put the caliper on, having trouble getting it to actually go on all the way because it seemed like it just, like the brake pads were too thick or something. So, well, at least the outer side. So eventually I ended up taking off the rotor to try to see what was going on. And you can kind of see how, you can see the top of that one if you kind of go like this. But the old one that came off, you can't. So I painted those, installed them. Or yeah, I don't know if they're gonna take them back or not, but figure something out so we can get some fucking brakes on here. Okay, well, a little later in the day, I just ended up getting some rotors locally here so I could actually get this thing back together. Got these from Napa. They're just the standard rotors. No slotted, no drilled this time. I didn't end up painting anything. I just wanted to make sure it went together so that way I didn't have some more non-returnable. So what happened with those other ones, the reason they didn't fit, if I didn't say it already, is that they're actually part of a disc brake conversion kit. So like if you had the 71 Chevelle with drum brakes and you had converted it using their kit, that's what those rotors were for, those ones there. What we had was factory 71 Chevelle brakes, disc brakes. So just the standard rotor was what I needed. That's what I got. So I got my caliper on there. I got my steel braided line on there. All three of them. I got this one, the other side, and the one in the back there. Man, quite a job. Now I got to bleed all this stuff and to see if it actually works. Fingers crossed. Well, brakes are all bled. They all hold pressure. None of them are leaking or anything. So we got everything good to go. Now let's get the wheels back on this thing. We actually got new tires on those too. Check it out. So yeah, looking pretty good now. And I didn't actually think you'd be able to see the red calipers I put on it, but you actually can. Check it out. It's not super obvious, but it's definitely in there. So yeah, so far so good. Now we just gotta get it out for the test drive. The thing we want to do and I'm gonna get started on is this floor down here. So basically first I'm gonna get the seats out, and then we're gonna work on basically taking it back down to bare metal where I gotta repair all these little holes, so that way I can get some of this this metal filler stuff in here so we can get this all closed up and sealed again. We got these holes all filled. Basically sanded the paint that we put on it down to metal best I could around all the holes and everything, and mixed the filler and applied it. Did several coats to actually make sure I got all the holes actually plugged and everything. But looking pretty good. So now basically I'm gonna sand it so I can get rid of all the like sharp spots. Because if you look in here, it's got like some texture. Probably because I'm not very good at applying it, to be honest. But so I'm gonna sand some of that down, just kind of make it kind of smooth. I don't really need it to be like perfect because it's gonna be under carpet eventually anyway. But gonna get some sand action on that, smooth it out, and then we'll put some more of the paint back down on everything. So here's where we're at. We got everything kind of scuffed down so that way there's no real like big sharp edges or anything anywhere. Now we're gonna apply a coating to everything so it's all toughened back up and sealed and all that stuff. So what we're gonna use is this Herculiner, like bed liner stuff. Just trying to make it just really tough in there and just make sure it lasts. I really don't want to have the rust come back. That's what we're gonna go with on it for now. First steps first, gonna go out there, gonna scuff up all the like painted spots that we didn't already sand before, and make sure it's all prepped, and we're gonna clean that out and then start applying. Well, here it is, all done. Dry to the touch. It's been a couple days, let it sit here. So we are good to start working on it again. So one of the things I'm thinking we're gonna do before we put the seats and everything back in, I'm gonna see if I can't get a radio to work in this thing. So it already has an Alpine radio and all the speakers and everything back here on the board, but that radio, after years of sitting, doesn't seem to turn on. I checked it the other day. It seemed like it had power and all that stuff. It just wouldn't turn on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can't scrounge another radio up and try to sit it in there and see if I can't get this the radio in here working too. Then it'll be even more like a car. So everything went well. Got this other Alpine installed in here, wired it up, and it works. We got sound coming out of speakers back there. We got our cord hooked up so we can hook up to a phone now instead of like trying to find a CD or anything like that. So we're good there. Got the seats all back in it. All about as back together as it's gonna get right now. Just gotta drop it off the jack stands, take it out for a test drive. All right, yeah, we took it for a drive and all is good. It still probably needs an alignment because it just doesn't quite seem like it's 100% straight, but when we hit the brakes, no more of that pulling over, wanting to switch lanes stuff. It's nice and even. It stops good. And I think it's actually quieter. I don't know. I mean, we did a lot. We covered all these holes, all the rust holes, and then I made sure the actual, like, the hole plugs stayed down now, and then I put on that bed liner, so all that added together, and definitely think it made it a little bit quieter in here in the cab, so it's all good. Even when we were out on the drive, I actually got a thumbs up from a guy with a modified Miata, so that was cool. But anyway, yeah, we're all good. So I think that's where we're gonna end it today. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Check out the next videos we got coming up. But other than that, make sure to catch us next time on Tacker Garage.